Hello and welcome to our course Marketing Management Part 2. I am Shashi Shekhar Mishra and I am offering this course along with my senior colleague Professor Jayanta Chatterjee. We are discussing about brand management and this is week 3 session 4. Till now we have talked about basic concept in the brand management. So, we have started with the academic definition of brand management, where we have seen that brand is a name, term, sign, symbol to identify the offering of one maker from the others, and it is used to differentiate the offering of one manufacturer or one company from the other company. So, that was the academic definition of brands, and then we have looked into beyond that academic definition that lot of academicians and authors suggest that brand is basically a promise to its customer that what it caters to, and then we have also looked into the fact that brand is also a relationship, a continuum which keeps on evolving as the relationship between customer and the company grows over the period of time. So, those were the definitions of the brand, and in the last session we have discussed about how actually the brand functions. So, we have looked into the way the brand actually comes into the picture, into the consumer decision making process, where brand awareness is the first thing. When probably a consumer comes to know about a brand, he recognizes a brand, or in a setting which is he can recall the brand. So, that constitute to that brand awareness, the first thing about the functioning of the brand, and then that once a customer is able to recognize or recall a brand, so he is aware of a brand, then the next thing comes that what is the kind of image that consumer has in his mind, his or her mind about the brand. So, that is basically the brand image. Now, this brand image is compared with the other offerings in the market, and there this brand image affects the consumer decision making process in the way that it affects both the cognitive and affective part. Mind it, we are trying to emphasize from the very beginning that the brands are not only about the affective part, brand also caters to the functional needs of the consumer. So, they affect the cognitive and affective both kind of mental information processing of the consumers, and finally that results in the consumers attitude formation towards the brand preference. So, if there is a positive image with respect to the other offerings in the market, you will see that the consumers will have a relatively a higher brand preference for a particular brand. So, this process I have tried to summarize it here, that how actually a firm, or how actually a firm, how a company actually builds a brand. Now, here it is a 3-stage process. You can understand that I have already devoted sufficient amount of time in the previous session, where I have talked about how the consumer knowledge structure is built in the mind of the consumer. So, that consumer knowledge affects the basically the brand image, or it caters to the benefit to both consumer as well as firm. Now, how can, the question comes, how an organization can build this knowledge structure in the mind of the consumer. So, what are the tools which are available at the disposal of a firm or an organization which are available, and what are the objectives of this brand building process? We will look into this part. So, this is what we have closed in the last class, and I am going to start today from here by explaining this diagram, or this the process of this brand building, how actually it happens in the business world. So, you have basically 3 set of tools in as a basically brand building tools. The first one is that you can choose the different brand elements. The first thing that happens in the brand building process is the choice of the kind of brand element you choose. Generally, you have these 6 brand elements with you, where you can have the choices, where you can make certain selections and make an impact or try to build the brand. So, brand name, the logo, symbol, character, packaging, slogan, they comes inside this choosing brand elements. Then you have the second thing along with this brand elements is that is at the disposal of a brand manager is the 4 P's in case of the product, 7 P's in the case of the services. So, what is actually the marketing program, that is the second tool or probably the core of this brand building process. And the third thing is that probably a brand manager can leverage is the secondary association. So, to create a certain kind of image in the mind of the customer, what happens is a brand manager can take the help of a number of secondary associations and try to build a similar kind of brand identity or certain kind of brand image, that this is a certain kind of association it will allow you it to get transferred from there. So, inside this secondary association we have the company, country of origin, channel of distribution, the co-branding, and then endorser and the event. These are basically the what do you say, the secondary association that can be leveraged to create a certain kind of brand identity. Now, understand with these 3 different tools that a brand manager has at his disposal, he tries to create these 2 things, basically the brand awareness and the brand association, or what you say is basically the brand image instead of brand association. The brand association helps in creating the kind of brand image that you are trying to target among your target customer. Now, in the brand awareness, I have already discussed in the last class, there are 2 things, depth and the breadth. Inside it you have basically the recognition and the recall. So, whether a consumer is able to recall or recognize a brand when he goes to a particular purchasing or the shopping environment, and the recall is that his ability to recall about or whether the cues are available or not available, whether he can recall about the brand name or its characteristics. Then you have a thing like breadth, where we have discussed about the purchase and the consumption. Then the second thing that results from these tools is that the brand image, and we have discussed that a brand should have a strong unique and favorable image in the minds of the customers. And once these things are implemented, they result actually in the form of brand benefits, that you get loyal customers, you can charge premium, and your competition find it really difficult to penetrate into your market, or the time to penetrate into your customer segments or that in your customer group is really difficult. So, this was basically the overview of the entire process. Now, I am going to talk about each one of them in detail, that the tools which I was talking about, which are at the disposal of the brand manager. Now, choice of the brand elements basically is the first thing. The second thing is the marketing program, and how the brand is integrated in this marketing program. So, how your 4 P's are reinforcing the branding that you are intending to achieve, that is the second thing. And then the third thing is employing the secondary associations. Now, talking about choosing the brand elements, the first thing is that in the brand elements is the brand name, which is an important thing. Brand names is something which is very difficult to change among all the elements in this brand elements, but one has to understand that a good brand name can also help you in building the brand equity. The second thing is the logo, that the logo and the symbol that companies use. Logo and symbol actually also help in creating the awareness and improving the brand recall or the recognition. So, by using a different kind of colors and different kind of pictures, you try to create certain kind of unique or image, or try to create a certain kind of recognition in the minds of the customer. The fourth thing inside it is the kind of character that you can choose to represent your brand. So, we have talked about this Amul girl character in the last class, which is something Amul has used very in a very effective manner to create a kind of brand recall and recognition, and a very positive sort of it has helped in creating very positive sort of image in the minds of the customer. Then the another thing that comes into the this thing is that packaging, and packaging is also very important. Probably you will understand that packaging is something which from the word it might look as just a routine process, but many studies in the past suggest that packaging can help a company in creating certain kind of brand equity. So, there are studies which suggest that instead of learning from the advertisement from the company, customers have learned more by reading from the packaging, what is written on the packaging. So, whenever basically a company which is in the business of offering certain kind of food product or ready to eat food, and there are certain kind of packaging and the different kind of ingredients or different kind of recipes which are pasted on it, and that helps actually in a customer understanding the uses of the product. And sometimes you might see that the companies are asking customers to send their recipe or the kind of innovations they are doing with their product in creating certain kind of recipes. So, these things are basically printed on the packaging. You will also understand that the size of the package is also very important. India is one market where probably the sale of the sachet in the is far more in terms of the overall with respect to bottles, and it has helped many companies in reaching to the market which were non-accessible. So, packaging could be something which can help you in reaching to the different segments of the market. Then the last thing is inside this brand element is the slogan. So, slogan is something which help you in creating certain kind of brand recall or certain kind of associations where the brand message can also be embedded in the slogan. So, that also help in reinforcing the positioning of the brand. Now, we have talked about these 6 brand elements. At the same time, we also have these 6 criteria for choosing this brand element. So, these are basically the criteria for choosing those 6 brand element. That brand element should be memorable, that it should inherently memorable and attention getting, and therefore facilitate recall or recognition. So, you will understand that while you are choosing brand element, it should be easily memorable. If you choose something which customer cannot retain in their mind, or it is very difficult to recall, that will not be considered as a good brand choice of a good brand element. The second thing is this meaningfulness. So, how much meaning that brand element actually delivers to the intended brand image. All kinds of meaning with either descriptive or persuasive content. Now, one thing one has to understand, a right choice of brand element actually reduces the burden of brand promotion or the communication from the company side, because meaningfulness of the brand logo, the symbol, the brand name sometimes caters those messages so well that the communication is less burdened. So, like this brand of Amul, it inherently the word suggests that is something which is invaluable or something which is pure, and that basically is applicable to the all products which are available from the company side. Another example I will give you about meaningfulness is that Nimbus, a soft drink. Now, this when you hear this brand name Nimbus, you can, in our dialect one can easily understand that Nimbus represent that a drink based on the Nimbu or the lemon. So, you will understand that the brand name actually suggests what is inside as a content of that product. Then the third thing which comes inside it is likability. So, descriptive and the persuasive elements reduce the burden on the marketing communication to build brand awareness. So, how much likable your brand elements are? Certain elements are particularly the characters are very much liked by the target audience. We have talked about the Amul example. There are other examples like the Indian Airlines, Air India's Maharaja symbol, this Asian Paints, that character of I think it was Gattu, if I am right. These are basically some of the characters which are very much likable, and if I can also recall, this Vodafone's Zozo was the character which was also liked so much by the customer, and that helps creating the image or the recall in the minds of the customer very easily. You can understand whenever you see that character, you can very easily recall that it is about the brand Vodafone. So the purpose of this branding, choice of the branding element is served there. Now I just want to make you understand that memorability, meaningfulness and likability, these are more of things which are related with the brand building. On the other side, if I look into the other three choices, criteria for choosing brand elements, transferability, adaptability and protectability, they are more related with the sustainability and the growth in the brand. So the first three are related with the creation of the brand equity, they help you in creating the certain kind of brand image. The remaining three, transferability, adaptability and protectability, they are related with the how you can sustain and grow the brand. So transferability is about add to brand equity across geographic boundaries and market segment, how much the association from the core brand can be transferred to the different product categories, that is about the transferability. Now you see that a brand which is tested, a brand which is trusted by that certain kind of target customers, that can be transferred to all the product category that target customer uses. So those kind of brands will have a high transferability inside them. Then is the adaptability, that the more adaptable and flexible the brand element, the easier it is to update it to the changes in the consumer values and opinions. Now I would like to point out that this adaptability point is very important in the choice of brand elements, that you need to make the choices in the brand elements so that they can be updated. You have to keep them in sync with the changing needs or the changing environment of the customers, and they should not look something which is out of the sync of the basically the target market. So if your product is targeted to youth and some of your brand elements looks very classy or sometimes very old fashioned, that may not be something which will work with your customers. The last thing in this choice of brand element one has to keep in mind is this protectability, that you can protect your the brand elements. You should have the legal protection, you can register them in all possible markets where you operate, and you should also try not anybody to infringe your intellectual property rights like brand name or the logo or the symbol. So those legal battles needs to be fought vigorously. So these are the criteria for choosing the brand elements. Now talking about this developing marketing programs, one has to understand that marketing programs, the core thing, the core element of or the tactical part of the marketing strategies, they also help you in attaining the certain kind of brand equity or the certain kind of brand image you are trying to achieve. So your product is actually represent what brand is making as a promise. So brand essence, brand promise is being delivered by the product. If the product does not matches with the expectation of the customer, whatever intended your brand image, that you are not going to achieve anymore. So the second thing is the price. So depending on the kind of brand you are, your price should also reflect that. If you are a brand which is a premium brand, but if the prices are like any other offering in the market, then the price is not in sync with the brand image that you are trying to. So if a premium brand, it has to come at a premium price. Similarly, if it is a mass brand, it has to come at the price level which is affordable to that masses. Then the third element, that is place, is also something which reinforces the certain kind of brand equity or the certain kind of brand image. So, you will understand that depending on what kind of product it is, you have to make it available to places where those kind of customers are that kind of positioning actually require it. So, you can understand a product which is premium or which is something which is exclusive cannot be made available to a basically a wider channels or all possible channel. That premiumness of that offering should be maintained even in the place also. And the promotion, we have discussed so many times that promotion or the communication message and its delivery, that also helps you in creating the kind of brand identity or the brand image that you are targeting. So, since we have looked into the two elements of this, I will finish my session today at this place, and when we will start in the next session, we will start from here and we will try to wind up this basic concepts of the branding in the next two session of this week 3. Thank you very much.